Ken Crooks Sports Story. Da, 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 da. Oh, the thrill of agony, the thrill of victory, agony of defeat. Sports stories. One time, I was a senior at St. Benedict's High School, and being a small parish high school, they only had swimming and basketball. So we made our own team and found another team to challenge, and we ended up playing on a Sunday afternoon at a school nearby St. Benedict's. The only problem was it rained that morning. So the field that normally was semi-grassy, it became fully mud. And one of the opponents showed up in a completely white uniform. So you know who got tackled first, right? Well, of course, as the game progressed, everybody got full of mud. I did not have a car to drive in, so I had to take the bus home. If you want to see people scramble away from the center aisle, just let a mud man walk on. And I mean, I was full of mud. Nobody wanted to sit next to me. Boo-hoo, so sad. I remember one particular non-hit I got, hit the ball well, hit it to the shortstop of the other team. He stopped it, knocked it down, dropped it again. I still didn't make it to first base to beat the throw. I wasn't focused on running, right? I should have been. Another sports story. We used to play Cooley School, and Cooley School was a schoolyard that had a backstop for baseball. It also had, the school was right field. So if you hit it up on the roof of the school, you got a home run. Well, I did one time there. Other times I tried to hit the wall though, but at least I tried. One of my friends told me he remembered me, how I intimidated the opponent teams by playing first base, and I'd catch a new softball that they were called clinchers in Chicago. When you get them out of the box, they're brand new and hard, and I used to catch them one-handed playing on first base, and he said that intimidated the other team. I don't know if it did, but he was impressed. Played touch football all the time. I talked about that in the parking lots. Mm-hmm. That was fun. Thank God we didn't run any poles or any of that stuff. Yeah, we used to measure not first downs, but in poles. If you wanted to get a first down, you had to go past the next pole. I remember one time it snowed a whole lot in Chicago, and we were playing in Clee Brothers parking lot, and I fell on a pile of snow, a snowbank, and I thought I felt something in my leg, but I didn't know. When I got home, of course, my mother said the first thing is get out of those wet clothes and everything. And of course, it was winter. I was wearing long underwear. And when I took my pants off, I looked down, and there was blood from the middle of my thigh down to my knee. What had happened, or what I found out, is it used to be coffee cans had a sharp edge when you peel the top off, and I fell on that sharp edge. I was so cold I didn't feel so. That's a bad sign.
You have to get stitches?
No. Are you kidding? Stitches? We're gonna go doctor for that. I think I told you the first time I got staples, I was on my way home from school, and a kid named Ken DiBiaso. We got into something about a fight about something, and he knew I was bigger than him, so he hit me with the edge of his lunchbox right on the top of the forehead. So that's when I got my first staples. Staples were brand new then. It was probably maybe 1956, 52, not that, 51 maybe. Long time ago. We had to walk, I said, 8 miles through the snow uphill all the way to the pool. Portage Pool was about 8 blocks away from the house. And you could go 2 sessions a day. Well, they actually had 3. One in the afternoon at 1, one at 3, and one at 7 o'clock at night. But of course, the 7 o'clock one was full of adults. The 1 and 3 had kids. It was a lot of fun. They also had, once a year, they called what they had a fishing rodeo. They put like inner tubes out in the middle of the pool, and you bring your pole with a dove lure on it and try to get it inside the inner tube. And if you did it, I think it was twice, they gave you some sort of award. I don't remember. I don't think the award was much, but at least you got an award.
That's a sport, huh?
Fishing is. That's the other thing I was going to talk about. When I was in Japan, Japan, not Korea, South Korea. I remember now. It's South Korea. Yeah, we went over Japan. But anyways, I was talking with one of the Koreans, and he was trying to ask me if I go fishing. But he kept on saying, fishing, do you do fishing? But then I watched his motion, and he was talking about fishing. But he said, pissing. And at first I thought, pissing? It's an odd question for somebody to ask. But we finally we agreed that what he was trying to tell me was, do I go fishing?
That was funny.
Yes, it was. Yeah, it was. Well, what was funny is when Conoco was building the ship we were there for, they had 4 of the Conoco crew members that were going to staff it once it cleared all its trials and everything. And these guys were all Spaniards. Most of the crews on commercial vessels are Spaniards, and the ship deck, of course, was right on the ocean. And these guys decided, before I came, I was there in the fall, but they came in the summer, and they found out that the walls had what they called percebas, which are like snails. So they'd go perceba hunting. They'd take a big burlap bag, and start filling the percebas into the bag, and then they cook them in boil them or steam them. And it doesn't sound that great, but it actually they were pretty good.
I'll take your word on it.
Oh, yeah. You're afraid? You're like, now I know where the kids get their
Aversions?
right. Yeah, I didn't go pissing in South Korea.
What about England? Did you
No.
go to England?
Didn't go fishing in England, but like I said, did Rochester with the Dickens Zero and the rope factory.
The rope factory?
Yes, they had a rope factory that you could tour, again from the 1500s, and the rope factory had to be like over 500 yards long, so they could twist the rope, to twist it into a full rope form, and to see the size of these things that they used, and it was all manual labor. There was no steam engines or any of that, so it had to be pretty tough to work that, especially twisting that rope. Well, they had a neat setup, so somebody thought it through. Geyer said it was one of those where you could sit in the bathroom and eat off the kitchen table. Kind of small. What was?
You lived there?
Yes, it was. Because it was a shipyard, they anticipated the customers would be spending inspectors there. So they had this arrangement where it was living quarters for primarily inspectors. And so again, it accommodated you. It wasn't luxurious living, but it got you through the day or night. What was really funny is the guy that was there before I was there. South Korea is known as being very hilly and mountainous. The guy that was there before I did, he got mudded out of his apartment. What happened is that the apartment, almost everything is built next to or near a mountain in Korea. And when you get a rainy season, they tend to have mudslides, big mudslides. And the mountain came down on the side of the living quarters and went down over the balcony and into the apartment. And they had a hell of a time cleaning everything.
Yeah, I guess.
Can't be fun to get mud off furniture.
Oh yeah.
What about when you went to that fancy dinner in South Korea? And the people gave you something special in a bowl. What did they give you?
Something special.
In the middle of the table, what was that?
Well, that's the staple of Korean cooking is kimchi, which normally is fermented cabbage, but they ferment other things too, fruit and other vegetables. Most of the time it's fairly spicy. If it's real good, it's very spicy. I didn't care for the real good.
Yeah, but what about the fish?
The fish. What about the fish?
When they presented it to you at the table,
I don't remember.
the fish's head?
Oh yes, because I was a special guest. I got if I wanted the head, I could have that first, because you get to eat the stuff out of the inside of the head. Yummers.
Oh.
And you got to do it with chopsticks.
You ever mastered chopsticks?
No,
Yeah.
So you had to pick all that head out?
I'm
with
curious.
chopsticks?
Did you ever try chopsticks?
So I've tried them.
Can you work them?
No, I use a fork.
Oh yeah. We're civilized, right?
Uh-huh. Joe can do them.
Can he?
Yeah, he's good at chopsticks.
Oh yeah, because of A21
Yep, exactly. Gotta learn with A21.
had to be authentic.
Take to the prom, Ken.
Who did I take to the prom?
Mm-hmm.
A girl that was it was the first date I had.
Who was that?
I don't remember.
She was memorable.
Yeah, she wouldn't even go to the picnic the next day with me because she had to work.
Oh. Who was the first girl you ever kissed?
Jackie Winneck. No, that's a lie. Jackie was my crush in 8th grade,
Oh.
and she wasn't related to Andy. She just had the same last name.
Oh.
She went and joined a convent. The convent, yes.
Oh my,
When we got out of 8th grade, she went to the convent.
oh my goodness.
That tells you what kind of lover I am.
So you didn't have any other girlfriends, huh?
Nope, not really.
No?
You're one of a kind here.
Well,
Oh, I had a couple other dates, let's put it that way.
yeah? Where'd you go?
Where do you go? You're teenagers. You go to the movies, period. Take the bus, go to the movies, big deal.
Take the bus. Go to movies, come on. How much were the movies?
Well, you know when you bring that up, that's funny. My sister and I used to go to the movies every Saturday. I think it was my way of my dad getting us out of the house so he and my mother could have relations. Well, if it was where we were first born at, there are two close shows, or two movie theaters nearby. One was called Division, which was on Division Street, and the other one, I can't remember what it was called, but one was only a dime to get in, and the other one was 15 cents to get in. And then we moved to the house that you guys saw when we were in Chicago on Warner Avenue. And there again was two shows. The Gateway and the Portage were the big shows, and then there was the Times also. And the Times was only 10 cents, and the other one was a quarter. Of course, the Gateway and the Portage got the movies first. But it's also, when I think about it, when we first started doing the movies, they used to have cereals on Saturday to get the kids to come to the shows. And they had Flash Gordon and Roy Rogers and Gene Autry, Cowboys Space, what else? I thought there was something else too. But yeah, you went as much for the cereals as you did for the regular movies.
They all were in black and white.
Of course. Well, no, not all of them. The cereals were. They weren't going to spend the money for color on a cereal. They were cheap. But you went back every week to find out what was going on.
What did you like your mom to cook?
Well, at Easter time we had barst.
Yeah, I know
Right?
bars, but what other meals?
My mother used to kick. Gołąbki. That's stuffed cabbage.
Yeah.
Did you have your stuffed cabbage when you were young?
No.
No.
She ain't gonna eat the cabbage.
Well,
No.
she had it because she makes it now.
Right?
You make it good too.
Yeah. And what else did your mother make? Did she bake a lot?
Not that. I mean, not necessarily cakes or pies. She did do cakes occasionally. What was funny is that, like, she used to make homemade soup, which was good. And in I think most every house in Chicago had a back porch on it. And on the back porch there was probably a cabinet. And then when you cooked the soup, you couldn't keep it in the house all week to keep it spoiling. They put it out on that shelf in the backyard in the wintertime because it was always cold out there.
Yeah.
So it wasn't gonna spoil the soup or anything. And that shelf was used to store many things.
Why do you laugh?
Why do I laugh? Because of all the things I think about, putting soup outside on the shelf, and you couldn't do that in Texas.
Did you have a milkman?
No,
No milkman?
no, because you paid extra for delivery.
Oh.
We did have a beer delivery man. My dad's had his priorities, right? He would get, if he was feeling good, or if we'd been good, he'd get a case of soda, which were quart bottles, 12 quart bottles, of regular soda, in a wooden crate, and then he'd get his case of beer, which was a cardboard, and his beer was Nectar Premium. I don't think that's around anymore.
Was that Fanta soda?
No, it was off-brand soda.
Off-brand. But you got it delivered.
Yeah, well, the guy was coming anyways. It was funny, I don't know if Joe or Marty, I don't know that they'd say necessarily they remembered it, but they went on a trip to Camp Funtz with me, and Little Bobby and Bobby G. And it was at the time when Joe had hurt his knee, so he was on crutches when he went. And walking in the snow and ice is not necessarily conducive to what Joe was wrapped up in there. But he managed pretty good. But I asked if he remembered much of it. I don't think he did.
No?
No, because, well, again, on crutches, we're not going to go walk in the forest very far.
But Marty got a deer, didn't he?
No,
Little Bobby got one?
no. The only deer that was shot while all the years I went out there was by Baba G. And I was just amazed. He was sitting in a spot I was at the day before, and I'm sure I never would have made the shot. I heard the shot because I was down the road the other way. And after a while, I got up, walked down to Bob. I said, "Did you get one?" He said, "Yeah." So we walked it out. I measured. I used to have a 3-foot gate, and it was a 400-yard shot from where he was at in his blind down this road. And he said he saw the deer start to come across the road, and it's got to his side of the road. It leapt over the ditch to get into the forest, and that's when he shot it. It was a great shot, right in the heart on the side of the chest. Considering the 400 yards and moving, that's a darn good shot.
Mm-hmm. But you never got anything?
Nope. I always, I always went to the same blind, which was across the road from where Camp Funtz was, so I didn't get lost in the forest, right?
You played it smart.
That's right. And we always used to, even though it's illegal in Michigan, you're not supposed to be able to bait the deer. So usually we bring up apples, or one year I collected a whole bunch of acorns, and the deer ate the heck out of the acorns. They loved that. And also you could buy bags of corn to throw down for the deer. And every year I'd go out there in the same blind, and every year I think it was the same doe that would come in and show off for me. Can't shoot a doe, so it'd come in, it knew I couldn't shoot it.
Think it was the same one for all them years?
Yeah, I think so.
Huh.
Said, oh boy, dinner, that old fool's back again.
What'd you guys do at night at the camp?
Poker!
And who was the best poker player?
Depends upon the night.
Who did all the cooking at Camp Funtz?
Actually, it was kind of fought over. Of course,
Where are you going?
both Bobs thought that they were the cooks. Oh, sorry about that. I need my back was hurt. Yeah, both Bobby G and your dad thought they were cooks, and Uncle Art kind of was the cook. If he was there first, he was the first cook.
Right. Uncle Art was a fun guy, wasn't he?
He was. Did I record that yesterday? I was talking about going on the way up to camp. I told your dad, I said, what do you guys drink up there? He said, beer. I said, oh, beer, okay, that's good. I'll do that. He said, well, shots and beers. I said, that's a, I can't do that. Yeah. And the first thing we go in there, everybody, to get 8 shot glasses out, everybody ought to have a shot in the beer. And that was like, we probably got there about 3 in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
And they're making these Boilermakers, as they were called. And I'm going, oh, this is not going to end good. I did not get sick in camp that I recall.
That you recall?
That I recall, right. But unfortunately, everybody was indulging in them, including Uncle Art. Uncle Art woke up the next morning and he had to go to the laundromat in town. He shit his bed.
He enjoyed a little too much.
That's right. I mean, I remember him. I slept, I think, where did I? Okay, your dad slept on there were 3 bunk beds in Camp Funtz. Your dad and your brother, if he came, had the one by the back wall. Your dad had the bottom and Bobby had the top one. The next one was for Uncle Art, and then little Bobby slept on top of him, and then I slept on the bottom of the 3rd bunk, and if there was extra, somebody else would sleep on top. But, I mean, when you talk about roughing it, there was no running water, no electricity. Although what's funny is, at the end they did find, somebody brought up a generator, and we actually, and the reason for the generator was certainly not for electric lights. But they did have, we did have light. They used to have these large bottle gas. You know what I'm talking about when I say gas bottle? It's about,
Like
5
lanterns?
no, it was 5 feet. 5 feet till you ever, they're tubes. They're about 6 inches in diameter. They have a cap on them. And you just feed the pipe into it. And that's what gave us lights. Bobby G found a set of gas type lights, and they hung them up, and yeah, because I don't know what they did before I came. It had to be kind of dark.
Very dark.
Flashlights?
Probably.
How was the outhouse?
Cold. I'll never forget, on my way, when we left, the first time I went to camp, we stopped at one of the Michigan rest stops. And of course, everybody wants to go to the bathroom to go sit on a stool. Isn't cool. But as I sat down, the guy next to me, the next stall, said, "God, it's great to sit down, not have the wind blowing up your ass." I knew what he was talking about. They had a frying pan that was almost as big around as this table. Did you ever see that?
No.
It had a handle, a long thing, and it had a handle on the other side. But it took almost, they used to have a wood-burning stove for heat and cooking.
Huh.
And the wood-burning stove, that pot or that skillet, I just covered almost the whole top.
Was it like a wok?
No, I'm talking about a flat fry pan.
Yeah.
That big. It was
Huh.
giant size. You could make the heck out of fried potatoes. They were good.
No.
Eggs kind of stuck to it a little bit.
Didn't have any butter, huh?
Uh-uh. Even if there was butter, it didn't help the sticking part. And to toast, you had to put the toast on the side. There was an opening on the side. No, that was where you put the wood, and that's what would heat the. There was a wood box on the right, and there was a wood box on the left, and you started both at the same time, and you knew that the stove was ready when the top turns red from the heat.
Mm.
We actually did cook a turkey one year for Thanksgiving up there.
Yeah?
Oh.
And nobody believed that we could, because you can't believe you can get up to, at least 325 or 350 to cook a turkey. That was a good turkey. Slow cooked.
But it was warm in the cabin at night with that
Yeah, well,
fire going. You weren't cold in the cabin.
not normally, no. And everybody had, as we call them, fart sacks. So. Why is that funny? You never heard those?
Oh, no, I've heard